We're back with Shaun and Chris from the Saskatoon Housing Initiatives Partnership, or SHIP, talking about some of the progress being made here in our city and the good things happening with regards to dealing with those tough issues. So, gentlemen, Shaun, coming back to you, if we were talking about a number of the projects that SHIP is involved with, what can you tell us about what's out there and what can we be made aware of?
Well, there's a lot of great projects that we've worked on in the past, both in affordable housing and homelessness. Some of the ones that you would know directly from Riversdale is 525 20th Street, the notorious 525, that now is affordable rentals for 1, 2, and 3 bedroom suites. That was a condemned building pretty much for many years, and Tyler Stewart from Stewart Properties came forward, and we helped him with the business plan and accessing some funding from the provincial government and municipal government, which is what we do. We help write proposals and advocate for good projects here in Saskatoon. The seniors housing down the street, KC Charities for Columbian Manor, that's another great project that we were happy to be part of the business planning crew with that. Recently, out Saskatoon was seeing a lot of LGBTQ youth that were coming to their coffee house that were living on the streets or couch surfing. They partnered with Stewart Properties, and now they have a home for youth aged 18 to 24 that to have a place that is nice, stable, and have mentorship to get their life on track. And then, of course, Innovative Residential was one of the first ones that we were working with, affordable home ownership. So there's a lot of work being done and projects out there that are helping seniors and people looking to buy their first home. One we're working on right now is with the Second Avenue Seniors Co-op to develop more affordable housing for seniors. In the next 20 years, we're going to see a doubling of seniors in our community, and we don't have enough housing to deal with that in a really concrete fashion, especially with the needs that people have as they age. And so looking at new projects that are affordable, that people can put some of their money that they've got from the equity of their home into an affordable project, and then have a comfortable place to live and age in place. So there's a lot of need out there, especially for seniors housing, larger families, but those are really in the affordable housing area. And as I mentioned before, we work both in developing affordable housing projects, but we also fund homelessness projects in Saskatoon. I had mentioned Housing First as a fairly new initiative in Saskatoon, and we've looked at that as a broad spectrum of housing placement services, from people that are chronically or episodically homeless and highly acute needs to those people that only need a few hours of help. So we've got projects from the Indian Métis Friendship Center with their Housing First and rapid rehousing programs for people that need a little bit of help, maybe 3 to 6 months, to get housing placement and connected to services to make sure that housing placement sticks and that they're successful in their tenancy. White Buffalo Youth Lodge was another one that we were really happy to have funded, because we see a lot of families that were living in very poor situations. And if a child experiences homelessness once in their lives, they'll experience homelessness once in their adult lives. So if we can stop that, we can stop intergenerational homelessness, which is a huge upstream issue. As I mentioned before, Saskatoon Crisis is also providing Housing First services. AIDS Saskatoon is doing housing placement as well. The Lighthouse, the YWCA, Justice has recently funded someone to provide housing placement services at Salvation Army. So there's a lot of progress there, and 350 people have been housed already since 2014. So that's a major step forward to help people get off the streets. Now, as for other projects, you can place people, but you also need units. So we've invested in some really great projects. One that was recently in the press was with Sanctum, with their Sanctum Survivor, with people living on the streets and their stories. We helped fund the renovations for the original Sanctum HIV hospice, which is 10 beds for people that are receiving medication for HIV to get them healthy again, and really help them be off the streets, because you can't get well living on the street. Piggybacking onto that, Stewart Properties applied and received funding for a new project called the Beehive, which is only a block away from that, but it's a transitional home for people that are moving out of Sanctum into a place where they are supported still. It's only a block away. And they have that support from a nurse and doctors from the Westside Clinic to be successful and stay healthy, because people can live well. They don't have to just survive. People can live well with AIDS. Other big impacts, for instance, the Lighthouse Stabilization Shelter. We piloted that back in 2013, and that had a dramatic decrease in incarceration for intoxication at the police services. We saw the brief and social detox being overrun at 3, 4 in the afternoon, so definitely a need, and the numbers show that there's definitely a huge need for that still. And it was important to have that there, because with the housing placement services, that connection, somebody that's detoxing, being stabilized, can then be connected into housing placement services or whatever services they need, addiction treatment, to be to get back on track, live in housing. There's so many great projects. EGADS, their Sweet Dreams project across from City Hospital, young mothers with children now have a place where they're mentored and living, learning. We have a lot of them graduating. One just graduated from nursing and is moving on to be a nurse, and from a place of where they were hopeless into complete turnaround into a hopeful future. And Cress Housing as well, from the Saskatoon Tribal Council, providing 10 units for transitional housing for people leaving the reserve and coming to Saskatoon and getting their feet and finding their place in Saskatoon. There's been so many great projects that have gone in Saskatoon over the last few years, and it's really a testimony to the cooperation of the nonprofit sectors and the federal government and the provincial government and the municipal government, as they're all funding partners with all these projects. It wouldn't happen if there wasn't these partnerships. And it's really a great thing to see, and I'm really hopeful for the future with all the passion that I see at the municipal and provincial and federal level to address homelessness and know that these issues that we have with the poverty in the community and the push that we see from a strong economy often pushing up housing prices through demand and maybe not incomes as fast, that we really do address the needs of people and build a healthy community that really focuses on making sure that people are living well and through relationships that are healthy.
And no one gets left behind. And I think that's one of the key things that I'm proud to say as a Saskatoonian, that every effort's being made. So there's a number of projects, but Chris, coupled with projects, we have process.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that before we close out.
Sure. So what we've done is we've set up processes at centralized intake again to receive people, and we've made that accessible for individuals in the community, also for people to bring individuals in the community to come there. We've got the process at the Lighthouse as well with the housing locator and the supports that are needed for individuals. Sometimes people just don't know how to navigate finding or connecting or viewing rental units and things like that. The other processes that we've got, which are behind the scenes that SHIP is providing, is we're building collaboration between between agencies, and I think that's huge. I mean, I've talked with a lot of the agencies, and for years, a lot of the, really innovative programs have been done in Saskatoon. At a lot of the different agencies that work in the homelessness sector. But, if we're going to really address, the needs of the 450 individuals, if we're really going to address the needs in our community, we've got to do it in a collaborative way. We've got to come together. And so we've put together some action teams, some task forces around housing services and gaps. And that team comes together bi-monthly, and they talk about what the gaps are within the overall system, as well as they address, have a common voice to address government. And the government is there listening to what their concerns are. We've got another team that comes together, which is the shelter group. And so the different shelters in our community, everything from the Lighthouse to Comfy to Salvation Army and the YW are coming together and addressing what their concerns are and their issues are. And it's amazing to me as I brought that group together that they were so thankful that they were able to come into the same room together and really realize that some of the same issues that they were struggling with in sheltering individuals, were common between agencies. And so, when we've got a common struggle, we can often have a very common solution between to address what those are. And we've got a high number of our Indigenous population, our First Nations population, are overrepresented in the homeless population in our community. And so because of that, we've brought together some of the leaders in the First Nations community as well to say, how can we address that? How can we increase cultural competency and cultural access within some of the housing and shelter organizations in our community? And so that's been a really great communication tool to have, and a really great thing for us to be able to host for First Nation leaders in our community.
Proud to be from Saskatoon, and thank you both for putting forward your best efforts to really make a difference. It is a tremendous story. Shaun, tell us, anyone that wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Well, we're downtown in Riversdale, so we are at the 220 if somebody wants to come and see. We can be reached by phone at 979-6707, on the web at shipweb.ca. We have a Facebook page and Twitter, so please follow us. It's really an important thing that people know about what's going on in Saskatoon, some of the challenges that we have, and some of the successes as well. And we really would like people to visit us and talk to us, tell us their experiences, and look us up on the web and check out our homelessness charter. It's really an interesting charter that is a call to action for everyone in Saskatoon to address homelessness. It's not necessary. We can make it a better place for everyone in Saskatoon, where homelessness is rare, brief, and non-reoccurring.
Thank you both for making time for us today. We'll be right back.